Do you think that this group of white South Africans should be considered refugees or not? Because, fun fact, they're actually the only refugees that America has allowed into the country since Trump took office. They've completely suspended their refugee program and even denied entry to people from war zones. So why did they accept 59 people from South Africa today? Well, some claim there is a genocide taking place in South Africa against white farmers in particular, and that the government recently passed laws that allows them to legally take land from white farmers at their discretion. Many white farmers claim that they are being politically and racially persecuted. Donald Trump himself has used these claims when being asked why he's granted them entry when he's refused others.
Farmers are being killed. They happen to be white, but whether they're white or black makes no difference to me.
The South African government, on the other hand, disagrees with these claims, saying a refugee is someone being politically, religiously, or economically persecuted. They are not. Rather, South Africa's president said that the white minority make up the wealthiest in the country, earning on average more than 3 times as much as black South Africans. And according to a government 2017 land audit report, despite only making up roughly 7% of the population, white South Africans own 72% of South Africa's private farmland, while black South Africans make up more than 90% of the country's population, but only hold 4% of all privately owned land. In addition to this, a South African court recently ruled that the claims of white genocide in the country was, quote, clearly imagined and not real. However, the nuance there is that it doesn't mean that farm attacks and murders don't happen, because data from civil rights organizations show that they clearly do. But whether they constitute a genocide or even widespread racially motivated killings is heavily contended. In fact, the decision to class them as refugees is so divisive that it's got the freaking church picking sides. In a massive move, the Episcopal Church just terminated their 40-year-long partnership with the US government on refugee resettlement, saying that it refuses to support Trump's decision to prioritize white Afrikaners over other refugees. So the question is, what do you think?
Farmers are being killed. They happen to be white, but whether they're white or black makes no difference to me. But white farmers are being brutally killed, and their land is being confiscated in South Africa. And the newspapers and the media, television media, doesn't even talk about it. If it were the other way around, they'd talk about it. That would be the only story they'd talk about. And I don't care who they are. I don't care about their race, their color. I don't care about their height, their weight. I don't care about anything. I just know that what's happening is terrible. I have people that live in South Africa. They say it's a terrible situation taking place. So we've essentially extended citizenship to those people to escape from that violence and come here.
If people want to leave South Africa because we're demanding our land, bye-bye. You are free to go. No one is holding a gun on your head. But we can guarantee you, you will come back, because we are going to flourish with or without you. And let's tell you, we will not be like Zimbabwe, because ours is going to be done through the Constitution and with the masses of our people on board. No blood is going to be split. No one is going to die. All of us, through the power of persuasion, are going to agree to amend Section 25 to allow expropriation of land without compensation.
So apparently, white South Africans have been granted refugee status in US. Now, ask yourself this question. Is this about safety or is this about race? You know, safety from genocide. That's what Trump says. And I just need your honest opinions. Guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing great from where you're watching me from. With me, I have like 2 to 3 clips that I need you to react, that I need you to tell me what's your take on this, okay? And I'll give mine too, okay? Let's dive into this.
The population in South Africa is 90% black. But black people in South Africa only own 4% of privately owned land in the entire country. But somehow Trump is convinced that these 59 white South African refugees deserve to be housed and fed on the taxpayer dollar in the United States because they were being discriminated against in their home country. It makes me so fucking sick to see that in the same week that a 16-year-old girl had her face slammed into the concrete by ICE because she was brought here as a minor into the United States by her parents, that our taxpayer dollars are simultaneously being spent on an expedited refugee process for white people in South Africa, where they only make up 10% of the population, but they own 96% of the fucking land. Are you kidding me? And their justification is that they believe that white people are being genocided in South Africa. So all of a sudden they have a problem with genocide. Meanwhile, the United States is literally funding a genocide in the West Bank. And for the record, that's not even happening in South Africa. It's been disproven and debunked multiple times. And it's just Elon Musk spreading right-wing bullshit, white supremacist bullshit, as usual. That's all this is. It's just white supremacist bullshit all over again. I'm so tired.
How racist this new administration truly is. This is some of the most racist shit I've ever heard of. In 1913, South Africa had white supremacists running the country, and they created apartheid, which created segregation and discrimination laws against black South Africans. It was whites only South African businesses, whites only South African movie theaters, whites only South African swimming pools. South Africa was on that racist shit just like America treated black folks. So in 1913, white South Africans took over South Africa with force. White South Africans stole land owned by black South Africans. Fast forward to 2025. Three of Trump's biggest supporters are three of the most richest men on the planet. Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, and David Sachs are three billionaires that fully support Trump. Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, and David Sachs are all white South Africans who were born in South Africa, white supremacy, and apartheid. Elon Musk is a white South African white supremacist. South Africa now has a black president. This South African president wants equality in South Africa. He wants the racism to stop, and he wants everyone to be treated equally. Trump and Elon Musk heard about this black South African president wanting equality. Trump immediately stopped all funding to South Africa. There are only 7% of white people in South Africa. But those white people own 70% of the land in South Africa because they stole most of that land from black South Africans. The new black South African president put a new law in place to right the wrongs that were done to black South Africans that had land stolen from them. Just like when European settlers stole America from the natives. Because the South African president wants to give back land that white South Africans stole from black South Africans, that's why Trump and his administration are saying white South Africans are being persecuted and done wrong. But white South Africans are not under persecution.
I mean, the facts are there is no systematic prosecution of white Afrikaner farmers. For the Trump administration to take the view that there's somehow systematic persecution, it's actually problematic and troublesome and damning on the way the Trump administration is receiving its information.
How are they being prosecuted when they the ones who stole the land from black South Africans? Black South Africans are the ones who originally owned that land. What's so wrong with doing right and giving black South Africans their land back? But see, this is the thing. South Africa is not even seizing land like Donald Trump is saying they are. It's a lawful process that's handled in the courts of South Africa. If someone stole land from you and your family, wouldn't you want it back? I did my research and I found out how
We are not opposed to white people. We are opposed to white supremacy. We are opposed to racism. We are opposed to white monopoly capital. It's not about color. It's about the party that represents backwardness, a party that is a racist organization, a party like Freedom Front that says part of its conditions to go into a coalition is that we must declare Orania as a white Afrikaner land. And you say to us, we must go and participate in such a coalition. We'll never do that. We'll rather die without occupying positions in government than to allow white supremacists and racists to thrive. When we say progressive forces, the people say you are saying black parties. There are no black parties. We are not a black party. We are a progressive force of the left.
So we got more proof that just dropped that Donald Trump's entire immigration policy is based upon racism and a white nationalist ideology. Specifically, when he took office, he cut off all refugee admissions from anywhere in the world. That was unprecedented. It had never happened in American history. We're supposed to be the place where immigrants can come to if they're facing persecution from communism, from genocide, from war, whatever it may be, even if it's just for a temporary reprieve so they can be safe. Bring me your tired and your huddled masses. As it says across the Statue of Liberty, immigration is the identity of this very country. However, he cut all that off, except for, of course, ridiculously, Afrikaners from South Africa who were facing a non-existent white genocide. Now, that program was written in a racially neutral way, but when a State Department official, it was just reported, asked, does this apply to minorities who can otherwise meet, the criteria? He was told no, it only applies to white people. So this is absolute proof. They write it in a racially neutral way, but it only benefits white people and only they can use it.
Okay, here's my take. It's crazy how whiteness move freely, even in systems claiming to be about justice and protection. I'm not saying white people are bad. For real, I'm not saying white people are bad, but the double standards are too high, man. They're really too high. When it's black people, we have to prove ourselves that we are good. We have to prove ourselves that we are safe. We have to prove ourselves that we are deserving.
To the 50 Afrikaners who fled to the US, calling themselves refugees, you are not refugees. You are just a case study of white flight dressed up as martyrdom. You're not escaping violence, you're escaping equality. South Africa didn't chase you away. You ran. Yes, South Africa is one of the most violent countries in the world. Yes, brutality exists. But let's be honest, violence affects all communities, not just white farmers. Black, colored, Indian, and yes, white people are all targets of a national crime crisis. What we have is a breakdown in safety, not a white genocide. This is not ethnic cleansing, it's criminal collapse, and running to the US won't fix it. You are part of a 7% minority, but somehow still manages to control over 70% of the wealth. That is not persecution, that's privilege on a guilt trip. And let's be real, if we tried to relocate just half of the Afrikaans population, it would take decades, billions in logistics, and you'd still end up culturally homeless in a country that don't want your apartheid baggage. You're not brave, you're not victims. You're scared of a world where you don't get to be in charge, and that makes the rest of the Afrikaans community cringe, because you make us look weak. South Africa is broken, and it's our problem to solve. So if you don't have the spine to do so, stay gone.
They only want white people here. Because when we think about refugees who need immediate resettlement, expedited screenings, we usually think about people who are fleeing extreme violence, persecution, famine, war in places like South Sudan, Myanmar, the Congo, not white Afrikaners. See that chartered plane the Trump administration is sending? It's not going to collect refugees that have been sitting in resettlement camps for years, fully vetted, waiting to come to the United States to escape violence. No, it's going to South Africa to collect white people who claim they're being discriminated against. Why would they be getting discriminated against? Probably because they spent generations instituting legalized forms of racial segregation and discrimination called apartheid, aka Stephen Miller's wet dream. See, while the rest of the world after World War II saw that maybe racial discrimination not such a hot idea and favored more policies of integration and away from colonization, Afrikaners doubled down on that shit and instituted apartheid. Although it ended over 30 years ago, the social and economic legacies of apartheid continue today. South Africa is the most unequal country in the entire world, according to the World Bank, with white South Africans earning over 12 times what black South Africans do. But don't worry, we're going to make sure that the white Afrikaners who instituted generations of discrimination and segregation against black people get everything they need to get started here in the United States in their new life.
There are a lot of illegal immigrants here in South Africa who are white people. Many of them are found in Cape Town. One of them the other day tweeted that I came to Cape Town for tourism 6 months. I can't believe I even stayed for more than 12 months. It's so nice. This thing can't hear that he's saying it's illegal in the country, but it doesn't apply to white people. There was never an outrage on Twitter that she doesn't have visa. Had a black person said that, or my brother, The way is so nice here in Hillborough. Oh, I didn't even renew my visas. You will go home the following day. Our own people will go hunting for that person. But I looked at that thing of that white lady with interest, and I wanted to see what is going to be the reaction. Nothing.
White farmers must stay in South Africa, but I won't beg them. I won't be on my knees begging white farmers to stay in South Africa. But they must stay. If they want to stay, they are more than welcome. Like all South Africans, there's nothing special about them. Nothing. To ask me about, do I see value in the white farmers in South Africa, is to ask me about white privilege. I'm not going to glorify it. I see value in all South Africans. White, black, Indian, colors. All of us. I value you. I want you to contribute in the growth of the economy. There's nothing special about white farmers. There's nothing special about white people. The sooner we do that, away with that mentality, the better. I have no problem with white people at all. I have a problem with them being treated special. I have a problem with privilege. That's my problem. I've never met a white person who says, let's preach reconciliation. They don't preach reconciliation. The victims are the ones who are preaching reconciliation. Victims, because who are begging. I'm not Cyril Ramaphosa, I don't beg them. I'll never beg them. They are going to stay here if they agree to be equal to black people. And I can tell you, my brother, I hear your accent. South African whites, they don't fear war. They don't fear blood. They don't fear any land taken from them. They know it will never happen. They fear equality. That's the only thing they are scared of. That they are going to be equal to monkeys. That's the only thing they fear. They know this Malema, they've listened to my talks. They know even when they reported me to Human Rights Commission, there's nothing hate about what this guy is saying. They know that. My crime is to demand an equality. That's a crime I'm committing in this country. To demand that the white minorities must come down from their high horses and humble themselves and work with fellow South Africans. These Africans have got no problem with whites. Actually, they love them too much. Some of them hate me because they think I hate white people. Or, hey, this one is going to make whites go. This one. They hate me for that. That's how much they love white people. They are prepared to sacrifice their own brother in protection of white people. That's how much they love. They have no problem with it. It is white people who have a problem with Africans. They do not see themselves being at the same level with Africans. And it's not only the white farmers, it's not the white managers in the newsrooms. It's not the white editors only. Go to the Supreme Court of Appeal in the judiciary. I sit in the JSC there. How the white judges in the Supreme Court of Appeal look down at their colleagues at the highest level of educated whites. Don't think it's just a child of a farmer who has a problem with black people. An educated white judge at the highest level has got a problem with an educated and over-educated African judge. When they write a judgment, they ridicule the judgments of Africans. When an African or a colored wants to make reference to the best reported judgment of an African, they say, no, don't use that. Use this one. They give you an alternative white reported judgment at the highest, second highest court. That's how difficult it is.
Our black brothers have got no problem with white people. White people have got problem with us. No one is good. No one here. And some of us were even privileged because with the money we're getting in parliament, we've taken our children to private schools because there's no public school here in South Africa. Schools have collapsed. They befriend white kids. They bring them there in our houses. When we slaughter, we must start slaughtering with these friends of our kids. Do you think our children are going to allow that? We are building a completely new society where black and Africans are embracing one another. The problem is this old age. They have a big problem, those guys, because they know the privilege of apartheid. The young ones don't know the privilege of apartheid. They know the privilege of being called a madam and a boss, and then calling older women girls and older men boys. They know that privilege, and today is no more. That's what offended them. So I'm not going to beg them to stay here. I'm not begging anyone, especially white people. If they want to go, they can go. At least they've got somewhere to go. We don't have anywhere to go if things don't go right. We've got only here to go. So any white that says I'm going, you must know their loyalty is not with us because they've got 2 passports. They are not South Africans. They are half South African, half British. They can go. They must live quietly. Hack. Restart.
Much love to everyone who made it to the end. Stay healthy, stay proud, stay aware, but above all, stay at peace. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to like and comment too. Peace.